Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Shadow here with Boring Peanut again.
What's up?
And today we're going to be going over all the new leaks that we've been seeing for OP11, leaders, and all the extra support. But before we get into that, I did want to do a disclaimer. Dueling Guard has revamped their website. As you see here, I'm on the website. Scrolling through, they no longer have their old bundles that they used to have, but now they have a build your own bundle, custom bundle. Any 3 items that you add to the bundle, you get an automatic 10% off. Whatever it is, deck boxes, deck mat, the gauntlet bag, whatever you want. But not only that, you can also use code SGTCG for an additional 5% off your entire order, totaling out to 15%. So take advantage of it while you guys can. Link is in the description for an auto apply on code SGTCG, and then you just add the rest to get the extra 10. But without further ado, let's get into these leaders. Starting off with first, Katakuri. So one of the new leaders, in my opinion, very underwhelming. It is a Big Mom Pirates, obviously. When attacking and when your opponent attacks, once per turn you get Don -1. Look at the top card of your opponent's deck, and then this character gets 1000 power for the battle.
Yeah, this leader, I think when everyone saw it, everyone felt like, it's kind of underwhelming, especially with the Dom -1. Um, Dom -1 in the mid game doesn't always feel good, sets you back. So, still right now, I think this is a deck we're just going to be waiting until the full set is released till we can actually make a decision. But yeah, pretty underwhelming so far.
I will say the AI alt art is looking pretty fire, to be fair.
No, yeah, I when I saw the alt arts, like I loved them, but I think I like Kata the most. Like it looks good.
Yeah, it's so trippy. But with this new leader, we can use old cards for support, and it's not much that I've seen. You could probably dig for more, but as far as support that I've seen, I mean that you can use, it's putting. On your turn, when a Don card on your field is returned to your Don deck, add up to 1 Don card from your Don deck and rest it. So it's essentially a cheap version of Eustace Captain Kidd, which could potentially be used in the deck as well, but this is searchable. So a way to get the Don back after you've Don minus it to beef up your leader and look at your opponent's deck. What are your thoughts on the pudding?
So the one thing is it is your turn only, so you're not going to be refunding your Dawn when you're using the when your opponent attacks part of your leader ability. But yeah, again, without seeing anything else, I mean, it just seems like a logical beginning curve card to put on board that your opponent is going to want to remove. Other than that, I mean, not much to talk about it so far.
Yeah, and then as far as top end, there is a Charlotte Linland, this 9 cost. Very great super rare that we have right now from OP08. On play, Don -1, trash 1 card from your hand, add up to 1 card to the top of your life, and then put one of your opponent's characters to cost of 6 to the top or the bottom, face up, clearing board, healing, and establishing a big 9/9 body. With the
Yeah,
Linland.
this is one card that I've really grown to love, and I think a lot of people have. Because at first it was like, it's okay, but then we come to find out for like any purple deck that just needs to live and control a little bit, this Linlin is just, it's great. Great card.
Yeah, I used to not like it, but I can see the value of it now. But
Well, I think part of it too was with Dofi in the meta. I think that's a reason why too.
true, that is very true. But yeah, as far as this, you can also probably use Captain Kidd, which gives you an active Don compared to Arrested like the pudding does. But comboing both, you'd get 2 Don, so there's that to throw in. But with the new support that was revealed, we do have this Charlotte Oven, which can be comboed off your leader ability. It has an activate main. You may rest this character, declare a cost of your choice, and reveal the top card of your opponent's deck. If the revealed card has the same cost as a declared cost, K up to one of your opponent's characters the original cost of 3 or less. Then add up to 1 Don card from your Don deck and rest it. So Board control, ramping. It just sucks that it's just a 3 or less, not a 4.
Yeah, four would be too powerful though. I think we'd be going a little too far with the power creep. But yeah, this feels like a card that you're just gonna need to play in this deck because that refunds it and chaining it with your pudding, or if you get a kid on board, like you're going up and down because you're refunding with oven and then also refunding with whatever else you have on the field. Um, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just obviously a card that can be removed very easily.
Yeah, but at least it's something to go with the leader effect, which is a new type of dynamic to the game, being able to look at your opponent's deck. So very trippy, but it's something that can be utilized. And the activate main gets around Blackbeard, so it's at least something you can use and not just rely on an on play.
That's true. We don't have to swing at Lafitte anymore. We can just
Yeah,
KO at every turn.
and ramp on top of it.
Yeah, yeah.
The other new Big Mom Pirate support, as you see here on the right, is a Charlotte Lin 10 drop. 10-12 is always, for some reason, the 10 drop mom is always a 12k body. If your leader has a type Big Mom Pirates, this character gains Rush. And on your opponent's attack, once per turn, Don -5, you may declare a cost, reveal one card from the top of your opponent's deck. If the revealed card has the same cost as the declared cost, give up to one of your leaders plus 2,000 during this turn. I honestly don't think the ability is that great at all. Just because you're Don -5. If it wasn't for the Don -5, I think it could possibly be a little bit better. But the Rush is a monster thing to have in this deck.
Yeah, 10-12 with Rush. Yeah, that's pretty scary. Um, I mean, you know how 10-12 Shanks is. I mean, just great card. Obviously,
Yeah.
the -1k in general is just amazing.
That's what makes it
And
a
also,
great card.
also, too, we kind of forgot that, yeah, it's saying -5, but so far as we know it, it's actually going to be a -6 because you have to use your leader ability, look at the top of their deck, and then minus the 5. So you'll get 8k for that battle, and then your leader is 7k for the rest of the turn. Very defensive, but again, the question is, where are we refunding that Dawn?
Yeah, and I guess that just goes to being able to see the more support that comes from it. There has to be something on a potential on your opponent's turn to regain some of this Dawn. Especially with something so costly as 5 Dawn.
Yeah, because right now the only like turbo refund, again, so far it's all like on our turn. But Black Marie is the only one. Black Marie is super susceptible to getting removed. You're using a 2k to put on board instead of your hand. And again, when it goes back to your turn, you use the effect, but then you have so that would have been your 10 Dawn turn. So you only have 4 active Dawn. Or well, no, 6 active Dawn that turn. That's a heavy setback for what we see right now with what this deck is doing.
Yeah, and at least with Black Mirror, it would be searchable if you're running I believe the one cost event to search for Animal Kingdom, Animal Pirates,
Yeah.
and the Big Mom Pirates. So you at least have a searchable event to find Black Maria in this deck as well to be able to regain that Dawn. So there is that. Next on the agenda for new leaders, which possibly the most best leader out of this what was released, we have Nami. You want to take it here?
Yeah. So again, I think everyone had the same thoughts. We all had to reread this leader many times to make sure this wasn't a typo. But I was also excited because yellow seems like it's going to make a comeback, but this is also kind of a weird yellow-blue leader. So during your turn, once per turn, when a life leaves any life pile, you may activate this effect. Draw 1 if you have 7 or fewer cards in hand. That's already crazy. A condition is 7 or less, that's such a big hand. And then Dawn times 1 when your opponent attacks once per turn, you may trash one card from your hand. Give this leader 2k power for this turn. That's the busted effect on this leader that we're all looking at.
Yeah, and being a yellow-blue, it actually gives yellow the removal that it didn't have before. Like, yellow revolved around just popping triggers out of life to be able to remove. Now, you have access to, like, all the bounce cards. You have Gravity Blade, you got Red Rock, 3000 World if you really try to feel spicy, but all this stuff that you weren't able to get rid of before, you have access to it now. And on top of it, getting rid of the bricks with leader ability.
Yeah, we're not stuck with conditional yellow removal, which, it was good, it was fine, but not with blue in the mix. I mean, as we all know, blue is just the king of removal.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Queen had the both combos, but it's not as good as this. But going into support with this, looking at all these yellow cards, these are all cards that deal with life. So looking at Charlotte Flampe, if you go first, turn 1, you could play Flampe, take a life, draw a card from Flampe, and then since you're messing with life, your leader sees it, you draw another card because you're only at, I believe, 6 cards there, and then you'll draw the 7th card off your leader ability. Just turn 1, you'll be at 7 cards.
Yeah, if you're going first, you'll be at 6 cards because you technically play Flampe. Or wait, no, that's still, you'll be at 7. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, no matter what turn order you go, you're going to be at 7 cards.
Which is busted.
Yeah, that's busted, because that's a card that you could have, like, a not great hand or a late game hand that usually you'd want to mulligan. One Flampe could probably fix that.
Mm-hmm. And you do lose a 2k, but you're gaining a 2k with your leader ability, pitching a brick, which is why, even with Hiyori, it's not even, like, a setback anymore, because Hiyori used to take a life, put a card from your hand on top, and you technically lost the card because you played Hiyori out. Now, Hiyori replaces itself with your leader ability, so you draw a card. You're setting up life and replacing Hiyori, which you couldn't do before.
Yeah, you most likely, until, like, late game, you don't need, like, that many 2Ks, like, throughout the early mid game like you usually would in any other deck. Because anything is the 2K, and then now that you're a 7K leader, your opponent basically has to choose, do I attach Dawn to my early game characters to even swing?
Yep. And against Blackbeard, you want to play these bodies out, and now you can actually get value off, if you still have your on plays at least. You get value from that, and being able to swing at, like, the Lafitte's and the Doc Qs. So there's that as well. The other 2 cards, obviously, we got here. The Nico Robin, great card. On play, if your opponent has 3 or more life, you trash one of their cards. Again, you're trashing your opponent's life. It does not need to be your own. Even if your opponent loses life, you're still going to draw if you are at 7 or less. So,
yeah, Nico Robin is one that, like, it's just solid for mid game in this deck. I mean, I have a feeling that this leader, unless something gets revealed that completely changes it, I think this is going to be it's not going to have a lot of top end. I really don't think so. I think it's going to be about burning your opponent's resources, keeping your hand size up, and then just slowly whittling them down by trashing life, and then maybe just, a hit, like, here or there.
Yeah, and that's where the Charlotte Linlin comes into play with the resources, because on play, you trash 1 from your hand, your opponent chooses whether they discard 2 from their hand or trash a life. And if they discard 2 from their hand, you're dwindling the hand size. If they choose their life, you're drawing a card and replacing the card you just trashed from this Linlin on top of that.
Yeah, in this 6-cost Linlin, like, with past yellow decks, it never felt like the greatest thing you could be doing, because whether it just wasn't part of its archetype, or, again, minusing 1 in your hand, like, wasn't always great, but this leader does not care.
Yeah. And you could use 7-drop Mom, but if we're looking at the resource base, healing, you could heal, but with the leader ability of being a 7k for the entire turn, discarding a card, you might not need much more counter than that, other than, the who knows how many counter you have in your hand if you're continuously drawing. But, this 6 Mom is going to take the resources, which is the main point of running the 6 over the 7.
Yeah, because again, past yellow decks, they would take life kind of early because you need that hand resource. Nami doesn't need that because the amount of drawing and also just pitching one card to your 7k for the turn, like that's never an issue. Getting rid of cards in the hand.
It's a mini BY, basically.
Pretty much.
This is pretty much it for yellow support. From what Boring was telling me in the East, whereas as far as the playsystem that they've been able to do, they've been seeing a lot of Nojiko and Jozu being utilized out there, and this is basically board control here. Nojiko to bounce a 5 cost. Jozu, you may return one of your characters and then bounce a 6 or less on your opponent's side. You could basically bounce your Flampes, your Hyoris back to hand, and you're getting those 2k counters back while establishing a 7k and, taking pressure off.
Yeah, I think just again with that 2k leader buff ability and just controlling the early mid game, you're pretty much not taking life unless you choose to with your own cards. So then you're in a healthy state as a 4-life leader in the end game, and they're basically going to have to attach tons of Dawn on their leader, or they're going to have to use big bodies to swing in.
Yeah, and again, this plays into the fact that now you have access to these blue cards where you can bounce bodies off the field compared to just relying on KO. Like, Raigo, you trash your entire life stack till you got a 1. Now you got Red Rock. So, just the support that it needed to be better.
Yeah.
And on to the new leader, and I believe the last leader that was announced, we have Koby, which is a red-black leader. It's a Navy sword type, so your sword type characters can attack characters the turn they are played. It's essentially a Dressrosa Coliseum that you needed to be able to attack prior. Now you just need the sword archetype. And once per turn, when one of your Navy type characters with an original power of 7,000 or less is removed from play by your opponent's effects, instead you may place 3 cards from your trash on the bottom of your deck in any order, and they stick on the field.
Yeah, so the negating removal effect, even though it's conditional to 7k or less, is already way better than the red-black Sabo we had. And also, again, like something to note that like some people might not know, that negation ability, like let's say your opponent plays Gravity Blade on 2 characters that are 7k or less, which most likely they are for that 6 cost value, you stop the whole effect. So you're not just protecting the one, you're protecting both characters in that instance. And then also too, that innate character rush with sword characters is so good, because with like Rebecca and Usopp with Dressrosa Coliseum, it was always you had to find the Coliseum, and a lot of times early game you're digging for that Coliseum. Albeit Koby's effect, it's only for sword characters, which is probably going to be only so many characters in your deck. It's still just a great blanket effect to have.
Yeah, but to tie into the effect of negate removal, they have to be a Navy as well. But it's like Rosinante. When Rosinante would see a KO effect happen, like a 10-drop Kaido, it would completely stop it. So it ties into the same thing, which is great.
Yeah, and also too, I mean, we might have to check the rulings on this, but again, this is, I believe, how it went with Sabo, or maybe it was a little different with Sabo, but let's say maybe one of your characters, we'll go back to the Gravity Blade situation. If one of your characters isn't Navy and one of them is Navy that they target, I'm curious if that still stops that whole effect because it did target a Navy character.
That is a
I,
good
I'm
question.
I'm not 100% sure. I have a feeling the non-Navy still gets removed, but
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
but I would imagine playing this, you're playing a lot of Navy. But that is a good question. It poses a very good question.
It does, in case you want to play that Rush Zoro.
Yeah, exactly. We are playing red now. Um, some of the new support that was announced for this archetype, which is Peacock, it is a one cost searcher. You're looking on play, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Navy type card other than Peacock, add it to your hand, and then place the rest to the bottom of the deck in any order. But it also has an activate main, which is you may trash this character, give up to one of your opponents plus 1k for this turn. This card is great. Obviously, you're filtering, looking for your Navy cards, but with the activate main, it buffs your Koby leader, and you're filling the trash to be able to utilize your leader ability as well, which is the thing that's gonna, you're gonna need to be able to fill your trash up with this.
Yeah, there's gonna be. I mean, we'll see them soon, but I think we're gonna utilize a lot of cards that just fills our trash, especially with like Navy support that we've had more in the past like 6 months, 9 months, has really gone to filling your trash a lot more. Um, but also too, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is one of the first like one drop searchers that isn't a rest searcher that has an added effect, I believe. Even though it's a 0 power, I think this might be one of the first with an extra. I could be wrong.
With an extra ability, I would say yes. Buena Festa, the purple searcher from the starter deck 5, did search without having the rest.
But no extra effect because it was a 2K.
No, I don't think so. I don't know. I'd have to look into it. But other than that, we do have this other Koby. So Koby, it's a 8 cost Navy sword, secret. So it's gonna be pretty difficult to try to get the hands on these. On play, up to one of your characters can attack one of your opponent's active characters this turn. When attacking, you may return 2 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order. Give your leader or up to 1 character plus 1,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So the great thing about this Koby is, unlike your leader ability, which does allow rush, but you need to be a sword type, this Koby, there's no need. You could choose anything on the field to attack something, which is it's great. You could get rid of some bodies that are active that you're trying to get rid of. I believe it might even be able to pick itself, right? It doesn't say it can't.
Yes, it can pick itself. And then also just the fact that it can attack active characters is so huge. Attacking active characters is basically just like sort of a removal, but not. But you know what I mean. You're not letting a card stick around for your opponent's attack phase if the attack goes through.
Yeah. And honestly, I love the art on it right now, and I can't wait to see the alt art for this card. I'm excited about that for some reason.
Yeah, no, I am too. I think also too, just the art in general is becoming better and better and better each set.
Oh yeah.
Just phenomenal.
Yeah. But so far, these are the only sword type cards that they have announced for this deck. 1 red and 1 black so far. But tying back into old support that could be used in this deck, for some reason, there we go. We have these Navy cards. So Sengoku from starter deck 19 on play, trash 2 cards, draw 3. So very, very, very great card because, one, you're filtering your trash with 2 cards a turn, and you're replacing them and the Sengoku itself. So it helps you find the pieces you need while filling the trash to be able to utilize your leader ability.
Yeah, and the discard, I believe it does have to be 2 Navy characters you discard first.
Yeah.
But either way, like this deck is just going to be packed full of Navy, so that's not. I don't believe this is going to be an issue at all.
Yep, and these two cards we have here, which is Borsalino and Virgo, both great cards. They both cannot be KO'd by battle. Borsalino is on your opponent's turn. It gets an extra 1,000 and cannot be KO'd. Virgo, when one Don is attached, it cannot be KO'd by battle. Now, with your leader ability, a way around these cards was to bottom deck them, or essentially, Virgo KO it with like a, pop with a Lucci or something, or yellow trigger out. Now, Koby can protect both of them with its leader ability, which makes them even stickier than they were before.
Yeah, and that's pretty much why we put them up. I think Virgo will be more likely because it's a 2K. Borsalino, again, it depends like how filled the deck is going to be with like other sword characters and whatnot. But just, Borsalino also not being able to be bottom deck, set back the hand, whatever, is just more stickiness, more reliable. I thought it's decent in this with this leader.
Yeah, and a free 6K block. That's also way better.
Yeah.
Other than that, we do have Finger Pistol. We all know what it does. It's Ran and Blackbeard. It's Ran and Lucci. You may activate main, trash 2 cards from the top of your deck, KO up to a 5 cost. So clearing board, filling trash. What more can be said about Finger Pistol?
Also potential trigger. It's just because Koby, I think we all kind of figured it out by now, I hope. This isn't going to be like your normal black leaders that we've had in the past, where I don't think this is going to be like KOing by effects very much. So just having Finger Pistol that, again, like Shadow said, fuels your trash, and if you just need that spot removal, it's just a good card.
Yeah. So obviously there's more cards like brand new can search Navy and put 2 to the trash. So just more stuff to continuously find pieces you need and just fill to be able to use leader ability. So I'm excited to see what other sword type cards they add, or what other new Navy they decide to add to help this deck out.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see like a lot more sword characters with. I'm assuming maybe there's some more for like trashing them, because that would also tie into thematics too. Just a little One Piece lore, if nobody knows, that Sword is a kind of like a secret organization in the Navy, where they sign basically like a letter or a waiver, saying, hey, if we get like caught doing things we're not supposed to do as Navy personnel, we are no longer in the Navy. So that does tie into potentially we're going to get some more effects, buffing effects and whatnot by trashing our sword characters. It's a theory, but I wouldn't be surprised with how flavorful Bandai tries to keep the cards in line with characters.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But for the last slide of new cards, we decided to just add in the new blue Straw Hat cards, which have some very great effects, like Monkey D. Luffy, blue, 8 cost, 8k power. It has Rush to start. I can't think of any other Rush blue card other than Usopp that was released in, I think, 03.
Yeah, I think that's the only one.
Yeah, so Rush, when attacking, you may discard 1 card from your hand and return up to 1 character with the cost of 4 or less to the owner's hand. Then, give up to 1 rested Don card to your leader or character. This card is absolutely monstrous in my opinion. Blue doesn't really have much Rush. This is now giving the deck Rush. But not only that, imagine this in Doflamingo. Like, on your 10 Don turn, playing this Luffy down, swinging 8k at your opponent, bouncing a 4 cost, attach Arrested, and then you can use leader ability to play out another card. Maybe a Bounce Law and remove another body.
Yeah, no, I think this card is actually pretty good. And again, just blue having Rush, it opens a lot more avenues up for blue's play style.
Mm-hmm. And this could also be used in the Nami deck, because it is yellow-blue, so form of removal, and then you're gaining a Don, and you could utilize your leader ability next turn by trashing a card and getting that 2K buff for the turn. So very great card in my opinion, and it's Snake Man. You wanna do the Nami?
Yeah. So deck says Nami. 5 cost 6K, 1K counter. It's a blocker. Um, on play, if your leader is multicolored, draw 3, and then place 2 cards from your hand at the top or bottom of your deck in any order. So you could use it as just a simple cycle, get some stuff on the bottom, like if you just don't want that stuff near your hand, or you could use it as a stacking ability. And again, just being a blocker is good. Um, I think it's an overall good card. I'm not gonna say it's amazing yet. Um, the next card can also, we'll talk about it here in a second, but that could also play out this Nami.
I will say with this Nami, you are with the stacking that you are able to do if you have Sanji, because now it is a blue type card. Sanji is blue as well, the secret Sanji from OP6.
True.
If you stack a 9 cost body there, you could slam the Sanji and play out another 9, so you could have an 18 down turn, or potentially playing out this Rush Luffy here with the Sanji and being able to swing the same turn as well with a big body, removing a body, and getting a down on your leader.
Yeah, no, that's all good. It's just more of the 5 cost can sometimes be a little tricky, depending what you're trying to do in the deck. And right now I'm just looking, because it does require multicolored, I'm looking at Luffy and Nami. And again, it's good in theory. It's just we'll have to see if that's what you really want to do on your 5 Dawn turn.
That's true. It also, depends on how the build goes, but ultimately not a bad card in my opinion.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And the last card we were going to be going over is the Sanji. It is a 6/7 Straw Hat. When this character is KO'd by an opponent's effect, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and play up to 1 character with the type Straw Hat Crew and a cost of 5 or less on the field, and place the rest of the cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. It does have an on-play return up to 1 character with an original power of 5,000 or less to the owner's hand. So again, this is playing into control. You're able to bounce one of your opponent's cards or one of your own if you really wanted to. But when it is KO'd, replacing itself with something else like this Nami. Well no. Can you? Yeah, it can play the Nami since it's a 5 cost. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also too, like if we're talking about blue purple Luffy, we can dip into the Wano Straw Hat cards. We could dip into those. I don't know if there's any real yellow ones. I think there might have been like a Sanji from EBO2. I can't remember what it does on top of my head. Overall, I do like the Sanji, because it feels more like when you play it down, you're gonna bounce back most likely anything that they played their turn prior, and then just having that 7K body and also being able to regenerate like another character to replace itself is just a great effect.
Yeah, and this is just the start of it. Obviously, there is the Veggie that was announced too to search blue Straw Hat type cards. So already this Veggie has got a lot of good targets in my opinion. So I'm just excited to see where else the support is gonna go.
Yeah, I am too. I'm curious. I have been noticing too with a lot of this support, and the game has been kind of heading in this direction. There's a lot more restrictions about what these cards can do, and I think that is a good direction to head, especially with the way that we're going to start power creeping.
Yeah, and it's good. It starts to leader lock some stuff as well, or at least archetype lock instead of just leader lock.
Yeah, because it also lets you be able to make more powerful leaders, like we're seeing, where you like just splashing in anything, like it doesn't it doesn't really work as well with the leader. Now, that's not going to be the case for every single leader that's going to be printed from now on, but you could tell they noticed maybe some past mistakes with their leaders. So I'm really excited with the way that their design is heading right now.
Hey, I wonder what they're gonna be doing in OP20.
I'm scared. I don't want to know. We're gonna have a 9K leader on opponent's turn. Oh wait, we have that.
Yeah, BY. But that is all the leaks that we have seen. As always, if you guys enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the videos, comment down below what else you guys would like to see, anything else you would like to hear, mine and Boring Peanuts thoughts on, or, potential gameplay. Down to play whatever, as I always say.
Yeah, and also too, I would be open to if anyone just want to do like deck breakdowns. I'm also open to that. Like maybe more like newer leaders as sets release. That'd be something fun to do.
But yeah, without further ado, I'll catch you guys in the next one.